And we're live. Aloha, everyone. We are live and inspired today. So, the reason why I'm doing this video, oh, there we go. Making sure that camera's working again. I always seem to do that. Always. And the audio too. So, so the reason why I'm doing this video is because I had a couple other things that I wanted to do, to talk about. Because I was just, I woke up today, I doing a little cleaning, did a little cardio, and then after that I was like, you know what? And I wrote down a couple of things, just jotting down. Today's my day off from work, so. And because I remember I was trying to think. I took like half a minute or a quarter of a minute yesterday to wrap up everything, but I was like, you know what? You just can't end on a duology or duality. Yeah, duology. Excuse me. You got to have the trilogy. You got to have. So I was thinking of a couple of things that I could talk about, and I came up with a couple. I don't know if it'll fill out an hour. This may be like the downer of the trilogy, where everything, you get to the climax and everything just kind of goes downhill. You know, this probably will not be the Empire Strikes Back, more like the Return of the Jedi for a lot of people. But I actually like Return of the Jedi more than Empire. So, I mean, but hey, probably because it's wrapping everything up. That's like, I love Return of the King more than Two Towers, but I do have an appreciation, and I do find more respect as I get older for Two Towers and what that set up. So, you know, what Peter Jackson did with that, especially the extended edition, which I actually have. If you look on my bookshelf, the third row down, you'll see, what is it, right? Yeah, right there. If you see the Ghostbusters, and then to the right of that, you'll see, like, on top, you'll see three. One's green, red, and then blue, kind of sitting on their sides, horizontal. That would be the DVD collection of all three of the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King. So I have those on DVD. So, but yeah. So, yeah. Now I'm losing my train of thought. Way to go, Greg. I'm just gonna blame it on the gym. No. So yeah. So there was a couple other things that I was thinking about, and like I said before I went to the gym, I jotted them down, and on this nifty card over here, and two of the things that I was thinking about, because I talked about, just a little recap of yesterday. I talked about how Inside Gaming kind of was talking trash, or just making fun of GameStop and stuff like that, and there was a couple of things they brought up too, and I touched on it a little bit, but I kind of want to go a little bit more into it, and that would be digital games, right? And the game launchers like Steam, Epic Games, Bethesda has their own, and companies that, it's kind of like with streaming channels, right? You know, everybody's doing their own streaming channel. By this point, streaming channels are going to kind of cost more than just basic cable, because everybody wants to get into the racket, right? I mean, it was great when Netflix and maybe Hulu were only games in town, but now you have Disney, you have CBS, you have ESPN doing their own thing, which is Disney. You have Amazon. You have all these. Who else? There's other ones that are coming out, which a lot of them are probably going to go the way of the dodo. But how it correlates with this is because of the simple fact of you have all these game launchers coming out doing their thing, right? Trying to undercut each other. And like with one great thing that to go off of that, to segue into it, excuse me, I'm caught in my eye. Yeah. Is Epic Games launcher. So if you don't know about Metro Exodus, that game just came out. And the thing was is that you could get it on Steam first before, and it was $60. Well, Epic Games had did a what do you call it? Had a contract with the people who make Metro Exodus, and basically saying, "Hey, listen, look, we want to have like an exclusivity contracts with you for 1 year. So meaning that that for 1 year you can buy it off of the Epic Games launcher because they have that exclusivity contract with them." And well, and that was after you could get it on Steam. Now Steam no longer has it, but the people who paid for it on Steam, they got the game when it came out. I think it came out this past Tuesday, right? So last week or Friday, I can't remember. I can't remember when it came out, but I know it came out like last week. And the thing is that they on Epic Games you could get it digitally for $50 where it was normally $60. And now you have Bethesda doing their thing, having their launcher and that started with Fallout 76, and everyone knows how much of I guess a dumpster fire that Fallout 76 has been with them, stuff like that. And the thing is that people can talk about, and so what I wanted to get into was that, and I also wanted to get into a thing that was it's a new policy of ours at GameStop. And I meant to get into it a little bit yesterday, but I totally kind of blanked. But it's kind of cool because, like I said, I can end this trilogy with this, and that's basically when it comes to like pre-ordering games, like which basically reservations, right? You pre-order a game, you pre-order it. Well, you can no longer return it. Usually, you could. You had 30 days to pick it up or return it, but that's no longer the case. So, like, if you pre-ordered a game, we won't give you your money back. Like, if you reserved a game, we won't give you your money back after 30 days, right? So, let's say you put like the minimum $5 down, and it's been 30 days after the game came out. Well, usually we would just give you back to that money, right? Or you could, which I've said before, if you're a frequent shopper of GameStop, or if you know that even if you're not a frequent shopper, but if there's like things like collectibles and action figures that we have, I know that we have like the new Ninja Turtles action figures, the original movie, not that new CGI one, not that Michael Bay stuff, but the actual like one that came out in like 90 that I grew up with. We have the original ones, all four of them. And so you can take that. So instead of giving you the money back after those 30 days, you can we'll give you a credit towards that, or $50 or 30. Basically, it's you reinvesting that money into the store by buying something else, basically. No. And so those are the two things that I'm pretty much going to get into. I may think of something else. But those are just it. So let's go back real quick. Let's go off of the former, not the latter. So like I was talking about, and I'm going to get into any other thing too, is my predictions, right? So I mean, it kind of runs correlates with all the stuff, but my predictions about the future GameStop, things of that nature, and just featuring gaming in general. So especially with all the streaming jazz and everything that's kind of like going on, and people's speculation and predictions and stuff. So, but let's go with the former first. Okay, these launchers, right? Steam, Epic Games, Bethesda, stuff like that. Okay, so here's the thing that a lot of people like. I had this gentleman come in. I don't know if I said this before, and I was thinking about this too, and this is what kind of brought it up. Okay, so there was this gentleman. He came in last week, right, when I was working, and he was like, "Hey, listen, look, I pre-ordered Anthem." I can't remember what he was talking about, but he was talking about some like collector's edition, like getting skins and stuff. And he was like, "Well, why would I? Excuse me, why would I get it through you?" And we were talking about, "Hey, listen, look, because if you pre-order from us, you get like 3 extra skins in it." Now he didn't know this when he ordered it, and because I think it was the collector's edition that he wanted, where it was like it was I think it was like $10 more, and he got 3 extra skins and a couple other things, right? But the thing is that we would have to. I'm not dead certain how we did this, but I think it was more of like a retroactive code or something where he pre-ordered it, but he wanted to get the upgrade stuff, right? So he was like, "Well, why wouldn't I just get my money back, and then, or why would I just stop my pre-order, and then next thing you know, get it off digitally, right?" Because he was like, "Listen, look, if I'm going to come into the store, I mean, I can download it early, but the servers aren't going to be available until then. I'm not going to be able to play the game early. So why wouldn't I just get it off digitally, And me, I wanted to tell him, well, listen, look, this is something where it's like you have to bite your tongue a little bit. And, my boss is right there. So, my boss is like, well, that's a good question. And, my boss smoothed it over with them, but the guy was just very demanding. He was very just being, and I'm just going to say it, an asshole. He just really was. The guy was just being a jerk. And what I wanted to tell him is that basically, listen, look, man, it's that if you take that if you buy it off there, you're still paying $60, man, for the game, or $70. You're not getting it cheaper, right? It's like you may come into the mall, right? Because we're in the Johnson City Mall. You may come into the mall and you may find something else, man. Hell, I go to the mall just to get out of the house because I am not a homebody. I am, like I said before in the last few, I'm a very extroverted person. So it takes the will of giants, especially frost giants, to have me sit here and watch a movie on Netflix or play a video game. And it's a even when I have a date over, trying to watch a movie on Netflix, or it's just it's a lot. It's a lot for me, because that's just how my personality is. That's who I am. And so basically you're taking funds away. You're taking money away from people like myself, my boss. That's just you doing that. You having this impatient attitude, this millennial mindset. Now, I know all millennials aren't like this, but this is the generalized thing about millennials, where it's just the impatience, right? And millennials, a lot of them don't have patience. They want everything now, because they grew up with technology. I grew up with technology, a fucking pager, pardon my French, sorry. I grew up with a pager for technology, right? A rotary phone. that was my technology. I didn't grow up with interwebs, you know. When I was a kid, it's like what I said yesterday. Like I played stickball and I played football, you know, out in the neighborhood and stuff like that. Home run derby, you know, where we get like a tennis ball and you know, we throw underhand and you take a baseball bat and you knock it, you know, and see how far it could go. You know, you have somebody in the outfield and stuff like that, you know, in the neighborhood. I mean, it was just that's what we did as kids, you know. Or ride our BMX bikes and stuff like that. Go on adventures. I mean, it was like the freaking Goonies, you know. I mean, literally, when I was a kid. So, but yeah, getting back on topic. Those are certain things where, like, that guy was just being a real. I mean, he did have a valid question, but it was one of those things. But he was being a jerk. I mean, you can tell because of his mannerisms, because he was just this asshole. He was like, well, why am I going to do this? Why am I going to drive all the way out here? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. You know, it's just, you know, he was just, there were more rhetorical questions than basically things that wanted to be. I mean, he was just being an asshole. I mean, that's just it. It's, you know, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't open your fucking mouth. Sorry, friggin' mouth. That's the problem. You know, sometimes. I mean, he was very uncouth. So, and so it's just one of those things. But you know, my boss moved it over, you know, and all that jazz, and told him, yeah. And where I'm just kind of thinking to myself, you know, that's just, you know, you're just being really I mean, he was just being I mean, that's a self-centered way of looking at things. You know, you're not helping out your community. You're not helping out your neighborhood. You're not helping out your city. I mean, you know, like what we were talking about, like I was talking about yesterday, you know, about businesses closing and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, you know, that's, you know, when businesses close and stuff like that, that's what people don't understand. It's like when a business closes, people's mindsets go to, like, if they can't pay their rent, then they're like, okay, how am I going to pay my rent? Then that's when people get into criminal activities or drugs or depression, suicide, you know, doing whatever they can to do to survive, prostitution, you know, I mean, unspeakable things that normal society wouldn't do, but they do these things because they feel the pressure, the sociological pressures, right? And it all stems from people like that person who came in. I'm not saying it's just him. I'm saying people like him. Imagine there was 50 customers like him, right? That's 50. That's 50 copies of Anthem, right? That we're losing. Imagine 2,000 people like that. That's where, you know, and it grows and grows and grows exponentially, right? That's why it's like, well, it's just one. It's like, yeah, but then one multiplies to 5, and then 5 multiplies to 25, and then 25 multiplies to 500. You know what I'm saying? It's like it just keeps on going. Excuse me, this vicious cycle. So that's why I don't mean to be I don't mean harp or sound like a curmudgeon or a nasty person, but that's the problem that I have with that, right? Where that mindset of, yes, I can get it cheaper offline, but also too, it's like now, but when you have things like things like Steam, where games have this, you know, the people who got Metro Exodus, they got it on Steam, you know, they pre-ordered it, but they could never take any more pre-orders because of the exclusivity that Epic Games has with Metro Exodus now, or the company, right, who owns the rights to Metro Exodus, right? That's, you know, and people are getting mad at, I can't remember, I think they were getting mad at the guy, the author of the Metro games. I think it's like Metro 2033 or something like that. And the guy's like, hey man, I have nothing to do with that. That's them. That's the creators of the game and Epic Games, and that's what they do. I mean, that's them. So you're going to see these. So how it ties into what I'm talking about is because you're going to see these factions, these digital factions, warring with each other. It's like Steam, Epic Games, other places create their launchers like Bethesda did, and other game studios too. Just like with Netflix and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus and CBS All Access and the Paramount Channel and all this other stuff that NBC's coming out with theirs, and you know it's all this craziness, right? It parallels and correlates with what I'm talking about. So, and so even though you're and people are going to get fed up with this exclusivity stuff, because imagine, okay, you can download it, right, you know, off of Epic Games, but let's say you have a Steam library. Like I have a Steam library, right? I have Shadowrun Returns on there. I have Alien Isolation, I think. My brother got me that. You know, I have, but also too, I have an Epic Games too. I have Subnautica. I actually got that for free off Epic Games because they were doing this thing where you could actually download the game for free on PC. So the thing is that, and it's a pretty good game. I mean, Subnautica, but I mean, I got kind of tired of it because like you have to go deeper and deeper, and it's just real. Like I just kind of got bored of it. I mean, I like the making and stuff, but it's just like, okay, you know. But yeah, that's why I'm kind of glad I got it for free because after like 3-5 hours of playing, I'm just like, okay. I'm glad I didn't spend $30 on that. But that's the thing too, and what I'm bringing up is that the digital games, even though they're not cheaper, you know, they're, you know, because whatchamacallit can say, okay, the Epic Games' big thing is that, okay, so the creators of the games get more percentages, like especially like indie games, right? You know, they get more of a percentage of take home money of net gross than they do on Steam, right? But the games are still $60, $50, you know, $40, and all that jazz. Now, at you know, if there's an indie game that you want, like Shovel Knight, right, for the Switch, or no, I'm sorry, let's say Stardew Valley, even better, Stardew Valley for the Switch, right? We can print you off a code at GameStop, and you can download it. And that's what I did. I didn't get it from a Nintendo. Number one, I didn't want Nintendo to have my credit card information. I don't do that, you know, credit card stuff. I buy what I tell people, if you don't want, because Xbox, Sony, they've all been hacked. So what I tell people, get a game card, buy the game card. You know, you can buy it at Target, you can buy it at GameStop, you can buy it at we have Food City here. You can buy it at Publix, you know, Starmart if you're up north. You know, any grocery store nowadays or convenience store sells like game cards. You know, like a PlayStation store, stuff like that. And if you're very wary of Microsoft or PlayStation having your information on there, just buy a game card and just figure out the tax and stuff like that. Because that's the thing too, is that if you buy a game off of Steam, you're still paying tax, you know. So, and it's in your state. It's not like, so I live in Tennessee. It's 9.5. So it's like they factor in the tax. So I mean, if a game is $8.99, it ain't $8.99. You know, it's gonna be like $9. was it 986 maybe, yeah, something like that. But the fact of the matter is, man, is that you're still paying tax on it. And also too, it's like you can go into GameStop. That's and that way GameStop gets the money, the GameStop employees are still employed and stuff like that. So, and you're doing your community, your city a service, instead of a disservice. I understand like stuff like, and like I said yesterday, right? The original Witcher never came out, as far as I know. It came out on PC. So when I said I got the Witcher for $1.50, I got a Witcher, the enhanced version director's cut, off of Steam for $1.50, like $1.49, I think, plus tax. So so like $1.70 something, and so yeah. So that's and that's a game that wasn't even on. I mean, I picked up what was it, Witcher 2, Assassin of Kings at GameStop, the enhanced version, pre-owned, and I have the GPG on that, in case something, and it has the I said it on the first video, that it came with the soundtrack, it came with the 2 discs, so yeah, I mean yeah. And if anything happens to that, and it came with the booklet as well, I mean, it gives you backstory and stuff, and it's really, really cool. I was lucky to find that. And so yeah, but yeah, so yeah, that's what my biggest thing is, and that's why I'm bringing up the digital stuff, is that games, I mean, yeah, you can have, there will be sales, right, on games. Yeah, they are there, but I'm talking about like the actual launch date when a game comes out. That game will not be like, let's say Red Dead Redemption 2, came out for the PC, Xbox One, and PS4, right? As far as I know, the last time I worked, which was a couple days ago. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It was on Red Dead Redemption 2 was on sale. Finally went on sale, and it's $39.99. So it's $40. It's $20 less than what it originally. But Rockstar finally put it down after making all that buku money that it made when over the holidays. So yeah, but that's the thing, it's on sale right now. And that's a nice thing too, right? So you go into a GameStop, you may see Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption is $54.99, so $55, right? Where it's usually $59.99 new. Well, the new copy, right now is $39.99, or 2 days ago was $39.99, so it's $40. Now, that's a special thing that Rockstar and GameStop, have a promotion thing for the new one, because I always have people all the time come in and say, hey, well, can you give me the used copy for that price, or $5 cheaper than that? Like, no, that's a promotions thing. If we run out of those copies of the new ones, sorry, we can check another store to see if they have it, and you can go over there and get it. But we can't do that. Well, I mean, it's just, I understand why they're like, well, that's kind of messed up. It's like, not really, because that's a thing where corporate GameStop and Rockstar and Rockstar Games have basically made a deal, right, between this time between this date and this date, the game's going to go on sale. It's out of our hands. That is out of the retailers, or at least the guest advisor, senior guest advisor, the assistant store leader, and store leader's hands. I mean, that's all corporate. You know, that's a thing where it's like, if you want to complain, then I would suggest complain to corporate about that. So I mean, that's above our pay grade, and I feel bad for people, but it's just, that's the reality situation. There's nothing we can do. But yeah, so getting back to that, so what I see is that there's going to be this war, right? This war of digital sales and exclusivity stuff and all this crap, and people are just going to, I imagine, and I could be totally wrong, but I imagine people are just going to throw up their hands and say, and punch the fuck it button, pardon my French, and just say, I'm going into GameStop, I'm going into Target, I'm going into Walmart and getting this fucking thing, because apparently I'm not going to get it off PC, or I'm not going to get it through this launcher, or like I'm not doing all this crazy jet. I'm just going to go into the store, right? I got to pick up groceries anyways. Go to the mall, or I got to go to Victoria's Secret, or Victoria's Secret, get me a nice little lacy thing, or or give me some paint gear or whatever, and I'll get the kid, the video game, or whatever, And I can see that actually happening. That people just get so fed up that it's like they just hit the fuck it button, and they're just like, I'm done. This is too much, right? Because when you give people too many choices, they're like, bah. I mean, and that's just, you can't. They don't know what to choose. But if you give them a limited amount, like 1 to 3, that's usually, or even just 2, it's better. And so yeah, it's like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. When you start getting, Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pip, it's like, holy shit, Dr. Enough. Oh God, it's like you get all these ones. You're just like, what the? I just want a Coke, just regular Coke. That's all I want. But yeah, so Mountain Dew, Mellow Yellow, Surge, yeah, all these fucking choices. Monster. I know it's an energy drink. But yeah, so I can see that, and people are just kind of going to be like, they're just going to go back to the Stone Age, I guess, what people would call it, and also too, it's the thing. Here's another thing too about physical copies, and that's what people don't really understand. Downloading a physical copy is actually faster than downloading something off of the interwebs, because basically, if something happens to your interweb, your internet connection, you're cut off. Now with games, yeah, you have to download a patch sometimes, but yeah, it's one of those things. But here's the kicker though. Nowadays, you have the full game on there on the disc, and it downloads to the hard drive. It no longer, you really, like Xbox One, PS4. You don't play the games off of the disc. You download it to your hard drive, and then that's a money making thing for Microsoft and PlayStation. So, I mean, I except for like a Nintendo, where it's like I'm not a person. I don't like buying hard drives, man. I mean, I'm not that person. It's like, I would rather buy the game, have everything on there, just like with the Legend of Zelda. The only thing I have downloaded on my hard drive for the Nintendo Switch is DLC or patches and updates that I have to have, right? If I wanted to play Piranha Plant on Super Smash Bros., I had to have that update, right? So, and it's like 32 gigs, or yeah, 32 gigs is the Nintendo Switch. But I mean, the full game is on the little cartridge right there, man. Excuse me. That looks like a friggin' SD card. And so yeah, and that's the thing, man, is that the games are faster to download off of the physical disc. Also, too, here's another thing. Here's the biggest thing. When you buy the game digitally, you can't trade it in. Once you're done with it, you're done. You're not going to get any store. Microsoft ain't going to give you no store credit. PlayStation Store ain't going to give you no credit. Bullshit. You know? I mean, it's forever. I mean, you have it forever on your account. Yeah, man. I mean, but who's to say? I mean, unless you get a wild hair to play the game, you may never play that. So you'll never recoup any of that money back. Right? Not even that. You will recoup zero of that money back. At least with GameStop, you'll get either half or maybe a third of it back. Also, depending on too, if you have the Pro card and if you come in on Pro Reward Appreciation Days, which I just got a notice on my phone because I'm a Pro member, and even if I didn't work at GameStop, I still would have the card and I'd be a Pro member. That the 23rd, which I believe, let's just look on the calendar, that is this Saturday. I believe this Saturday and Sunday. Pro Rewards. Definitely Saturday. I'm not too certain about Sunday, but you know, Pro Rewards basically, trade-ins. You get like double points. You get double the amount on trade-ins and stuff like that. Double points, double amount on trade-ins, things like that. So definitely, if you're interested, if you watch the video, if you're interested in it, go to your local GameStop or just call your local GameStop and be like, hey, I heard this guy do a podcast, Handsome Cobra. He's an employee at GameStop. What's this all about? What's this thing about? This Pro Rewards. What deals you got going on? And then just call up your local GameStop, or if you have time, go in there and say hi. I mean, and so that way you can get good intel and in-depth information. So, but yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, you get zero credit for having a game on a Steam account or Epic Games or whatever, man. I mean, and that's like when I got Subnautica, I got lucky because my brother was saying, yeah, man, I just downloaded this game for free, man. The only thing I do is just make a login and stuff like that. I mean, that was because of word of mouth. That was because that wasn't because of anything else. Other than word of mouth, man. I mean, so I got lucky on that one. And because I was actually thinking about buying Subnautica. Okay, I saw it come out for the Xbox One and the PS4, and I was trying to get games for like my PS4 because I tend to switch, no pun intended, switch off between my Xbox One and my PS4 when it comes to certain games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I still haven't got that game, but I was thinking about getting it for PS4. And then, what was the game? Oh, I just got Final Fantasy 15, the Royal Edition. I got that for the PS4 because my Xbox One because I only have like a 500 gig. I have like one of the first models, and you know, knock on wood that it still that still runs, you know, uh, good. But yeah, I have only 500 gigs, and like I think like 110 is like because of the OS, so it's partitioned for that. And I just hate having to buy external thumb drives and hard drives and all this other shit, man. I mean, sorry, stuff. And yeah, I just hate that. Oh, I hate it. I do. And I'm just like, nah, I'm good. And that's the thing, is that some of the games I don't even play anymore. I mean, that's like I took in some of my games to GameStop, and it was just what was it, Dead Space 1, 2. I mean, 360, Kane and Lynch, stuff like that. I mean, I took in games that I was never really going to play again. I mean, I just kind of had them just to have them. But Armia 2, those games, yeah, that game, the first one. Yeah, so it was just one of those things, man. But yeah, and that's the digital launches, man. You get zero, so money back. So yeah, having a place like GameStop, at least you get a little bit of money back for them. So okay, so I think I talked a good bit about my grievances and stuff about the digital launcher. And but yeah, I do believe that later on down the road, man, push comes to shove, man, all these digital launchers, people are just really going to go back. And that's why the whole that, like I was talking about yesterday, games are cyclical. The games, the gaming industry is cyclical, like so many other things, poetry and stuff like that. um you see, you know, like hipsters, right? They have, you know, hipsters never grew up with NES like I did. So, but they love the classic NES, the Super Nintendo, you know, the little mini ones, and like the PlayStation Mini, right? Now the Super NES and the NES have been selling like really like gangbusters, man, because people love that stuff, you know, because it's harder to find um, older stuff like that. PlayStation PS1's not so much, um, but yeah, like 8-bit systems and stuff, yeah. And also too, it's like with 8-bit systems, like how, I mean, it's a gamble because you don't know how long that thing's gonna last, right? I mean, if it's from like the 80s, I mean, it's like holy moly. You know, it's like that thing is like, whew, man, its service date is done. That's just a ticking time bomb for that thing to just kind of break down, you know. So I mean, but I would still get one, but I wouldn't pay like, I wouldn't go into, you know, I wouldn't pay like $60 for one. Hell no. Shit. I mean, $60 you can buy a classic NES. That's why I say, you know, go to like a yard sale, man, or a flea market or something, and to get and I'm just tell them like, hey, I'll give you 20 bucks, or if they say 25, it's like, oh, okay, you know, yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't pay 40 or 30. Hell no, no, I wouldn't. But yeah, so yeah, and that's what I mean. It's you know, people, and then people who are like me, who just are like, you know, I remember Duck Hunt and stuff like that, and, you know, and you know, and old Mario, and Legend of Zelda, you know, the first one, and Link's Adventure and all that jazz, or Link to the Past, which, you know, if you get the NES classic or Super NES classic, that has that game. I mean, I had that game growing up, so I love the Legend of Zelda games. And so yeah, um, but yeah, I do see people just kind of getting fed up and just kind of going back with too physical. And also too, it's like I was talking about before in the last video. People are speculating, and there's whispers that that there's not going to be a physical copy that's going to be all streaming, and I don't believe so. I believe at least they would have the next gen console. They would have physical discs, right? You know, some would have physical discs, and some wouldn't. You know. Also, too, the nice thing about Xbox Ones is that they double for a Blu-ray player, right? And even PS4s. Xbox One S is a 4K Blu-ray player, and Xbox One X. Xbox One X is native 4K for video games. Let me specify that. Xbox One S has a 4K Blu-ray player in it, but it's not native 4K for video games, right? So you can't play video games in 4K, but you can play 4K Blu-rays in it. So it's just different hardware. That's it. That's all. I mean, now the Xbox One S will enhance the graphics and stuff like that more than an Xbox, my regular Xbox, and but the Xbox One X is basically going to enhance the graphics all the way to 4K. But the thing is, you have to have a 4K TV. So if you don't have a 4K TV, it doesn't matter. the 4K don't matter unless you have a 4K TV. So if you don't have all the hardware, it doesn't matter. Let's see. So yeah, yeah. I mean, those are my thoughts. I mean, if something on the digital stuff, if something you got questions about, I mean, just put a comment below and let me know, and I'll try to go more in depth about it in the comments. But then okay, so that was one of them, and then the other one that I have to talk about is the reservation policy, right? So the third. So let's go with the reservation policy. So like I said before, the reservation policy basically, instead of people, if you reserve something and it's 30 days after you reserved it, usually you are able to get your money back. Nowadays, the policy now is that, hey, listen, look, we'll give you store credit. Now, on the Inside Gaming video, I forgot to say this too. They were talking about people speculating that the reason why is because of all the trouble that GameStop has, of all the trouble and the stock prices of GameStop going down and stuff like that. Now, when GameStop was about to get, when they had potential buyers like Sycamore Partners and Apollo Global Management, their stock prices went up. And then when GameStop was like, listen, look, we believe we didn't get a good deal, or we believe our company's worth more than what they were offering. So, or whatever the case, I don't think they actually came out with an actual thing. I mean, they did say that, yeah, we had some buyers, but it wasn't in our benefit, basically. And so, yeah, it wasn't beneficial for them to be partnered or to sell the company to one of those other companies. And then that's where you get the speculation about people saying that, oh, well, the reason why they changed this policy is because their stock prices went down, because when they were getting bought out, their stock prices went up. When GameStop stock dropped more than 20%, I think it was like 23, 24%, when GameStop said, okay, yeah, we're not getting bought out. So and so that's why people are speculating now that that oh, it's because their stock prices went down, and that's why they're no longer giving money back. But here's the thing: it's like what I was talking about before. I'll go in a little more in depth about it. If you don't want GameStop to go out of business, if you like going into GameStop, if you want to see retailers thrive, and if you like less crime, and if you like less drugs and crackheads in your city, in your area, then you're gonna sustain the you're gonna stimulate the economy, your local economy that way. So sorry, I was trying to come up with good word, good verbiage. You're going to stimulate your local economy, and you're going to put money back into it that way, right? So, like I was talking about before, it's like when places close down and stuff like that, it's just you start. I mean, poverty levels start to rise, and the economy is because you're not putting money back into the economy, you're putting it into Jeff Bezos' hands, or you're putting it into Steam or Epic Games hands, instead of into your neighborhood, right? You're just becoming you're becoming another cog in the problem, instead of being a savior of the growing solution, right? And so that's why I'm just like, okay, well, the thing about the 30-day, and I'll tell you this, it's not the responsibility of a GameStop employee to let you know that you have a reservation. It's not. That's like, okay, everybody gets a bill for your water, power, electric, right? You know what I'm saying? Some people, like, I need to know that, okay, at the first of the month, rent's due, right? That's just it. It's like my landlady shouldn't give me like a thing saying, hey, handsome Cobra, your rent's due. It's like, no, it's that time again. No, it's my responsibility. It's as a human being, and as a person who lives in society, that's my responsibility to be like, okay, I need to pay my landlady, need to pay the rent. That's my responsibility. It's called being an adult. And for what's his name, Bill Maher, it's called adulting. But yeah, but no one should have to remind you. Now, if you go into the store and say, hey, can you look up and see if I have any pre-orders? Because I think I do. That's one thing, because that you're actually being responsible right there, and seeing if you have some reservations and pre-orders. And that's different, But we should not have to like look your account up and be like, yeah, hey man, you got some pre-orders here, It's like, you want to pick them up, or hey, just letting you know. I mean, that's a courtesy. That's not our that's a courtesy, not a responsibility of ours. That's on you. That's called being a friggin' adult. And I'm sorry to say, if you have problems with that, tough tits. Grow the fuck up. Sorry, it's just, sorry for dropping the F-bomb, but just grow up and be an adult, for God's sakes. But yeah, so, and then, okay, so you put $5, $10 down. Like I said before, man, it's like, okay, we'll give you trade credit, or we'll give you excuse me, we'll put it on a game card, like a gift card for you, or you're like, hey, can I, and what we'll do, if you're like, well, I'll look around a little bit. And it's like, okay, cool. You find something, you find a game, that credit goes back to the game, bada bing, bada boom, bam. Or if you find a collectible, a statue, a PVC, a statue like Black Manta, it's like, or Aquaman, whichever one, or Mera, Wonder Woman, Batman, whatever you're into, Superman, or a pop figure, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Shazam, Captain Marvel, Billy Batson, or Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, whatever your slice of life is, whatever tickles your fancy, we'll do that for you. We'll give you the credit. It's like we're not, but it's, yeah, it is kind of, in a way, it's basically not really forcing you, but persuading you to reinvest into the company, to reinvest into GameStop, right? Instead of taking your money elsewhere. And wouldn't you want to reinvest in a company? Wouldn't you want to reinvest in people having not job security, but just having an income? Because I'm just like everybody else, man. I have rent, I have responsibilities of my own, and stuff like that. So I'm no different than any other person in America, right? I mean, so I may not have I may have different responsibilities, but at the end of the day, we all have responsibilities. We all have things that we have to do to survive, to make sure that we have clothes on our back, food on a table, and stuff like that. And so that way, crime, poverty levels don't rise. So, and that's all I'm saying. It's a good way to reinvest, to reinvigorate the local economy. Stimulate the market growth, and reinvest instead of taking your money to Amazon or fucking digital and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, people. I mean, it's like what you said on the Inside Gaming, where Lawrence Sontag. That's, I found out his last name, Sontag. I think he was like I think he was the writer for that episode. I could be wrong, but yeah, I mean, he was kind of dogging, poking the bear, poking fun at our policy. And it's like, whether or not, man, it doesn't, whether or not people think that GameStop is a sinking ship, that's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, man, is that, listen, look, you want to, if you care about people, if you're a person who is empathetic to other people, if you care about people who are just trying to make a living, who are people who found their niche, right, in video games, and love playing video games, love selling video games, love interacting with people like I do, talking about video games and getting them hyped and jazzed about Far Cry New Dawn, or like Red Dead Redemption 2, or God of War, or getting hyped about Cyberpunk 2077, like I am, because that's my jam, man. Cyberpunk 2013, 2020 role-playing game, man. Tabletop, that was my shit. Blade Runner, baby. Woo! But yeah, it's like I get pumped, I get jazzed, talking to people about that stuff. So yeah, I mean, and that's so you're not, so if you're a person who's like that, who cares, then you're not going to mind that, okay, I can't get my pre-order money back. I understand that some people will be mad initially. It's a knee-jerk reaction. What? I can't get my money back? What are you talking about? I mean, yeah, you can't get your money back, but you you can use it towards store credit. So you're not losing your money. You can't think of it as losing your money. You have to look at it as like you're reinvesting your money into the company, because there's going to be something that's probably going to come out that you're going to want to get. And that money is not going anywhere. We're not denying you your money, right? It's here. It's store credit. That's all it is. I'm 90% certain somebody can find something, whether they like, their significant other likes, the kid likes, the grandma likes, even if it's just like a trinket, a wallet, a fucking, an action figure, whatever, a Funko Pop, man, a board game, right? Deadpool Monopoly. You know, it's whatever it is, you can find something at GameStop to put that $10, $5 reserve money towards. You're just reinvesting it. It's not going anywhere. We're not denying you money. You're just reinvesting into the company so we can have future years to come. That's it. That's all. We're not taking your money. We're not stealing your money. I get worked up because I've seen people before who are like, I can't have my money. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Why are you taking my money? It's like, no. Whoa, wait. Just pump the fucking brakes here a minute. You know, please. No one's taking shit. Calm down. And then you tell them to calm down, and then you get all more frustrated. I'm calm. No, you're not. Your cortisol levels are through the friggin' roof. You're making me antsy because I don't know what the hell you're going to do, because I may just have to clock you in the fucking mouth because, you know, you're going to go apeshit crazy on me and be like a friggin', you know, Dawn of the Dead type shit remake. You know, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's fucking, it gets nuts, man. I mean, people get really uptight, especially when it comes to money. And I understand, totally understand. Because you mess with a person's money, it's like you're messing with their unborn child or some shit. it's just like, holy good, just calm down. I understand it's very personal. Yes, money, I get it, but just chill out, take a few breaths, we'll both get through it. Only thing I'm saying. You smoke a cigarette, go out, smoke a cigarette. I may even take a couple of puffs with you. Just so we can calm the nerves here, because good Lord, we can come to an agreement. You know, we can be very civil about this. But yeah, so yeah, you're just reinvesting it into the company. That's all it is. Okay. And that's how you have to look at it. Just you're reinvesting the money that you put down for a reserve that you can't get back physically, and you're reinvesting into something else, into a future purchase for the future. That's it. That's all. You're just reinvesting the money into the company. That's it. Your money's there. We're not stealing it. I promise. But yeah, so, but the reason why I brought it up is because I don't like when people kind of joke about that, because you're joking about people's money and people get really uptight about that stuff. And that was one of the jokes I just felt didn't land, because, and that's a personal thing. That's a personal thing. Like I said, I like Funhouse. I'm subscribed to them. You know, I like them. You know, a lot. Like I said, I like Dude Soup. I found out about him through GameStop. I just think it's very it's very uncouth and very unprofessional of them to talk shit about a company that has their commercials in our stores, right? If it wasn't for GameStop, I would have never known them. So, and so that's, like I said, I don't take umbrage with them. I just think I just have very mixed feelings. I'm very sad about it, you know, about their about their and about their way of doing the video. And the whole that whole thumbnail about don't give your money to GameStop, I just like I said, it was very uncouth. Just it doesn't set right with me. And like I said, man, I'm just one person. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just one person, right? I like I said before, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You know, I could be wrong. Maybe they're right. I could be, but you know, I'm not going to stop watching their videos and their content because they made a crack about GameStop. I mean, it's like I mean they make a crack about other things, games and stuff, and other, and you know they're very critical. I mean everybody's a critic. I mean, one way or another. I mean they're very critical about certain things. I mean, you know, there are certain things that are questionable about everything, right? And they're just being critical of GameStop, but just like I said, the jokes just a lot of them just didn't land for me. Like 90% of the jokes just didn't land for me. But once again, it's humor is subjective. I get it. I mean, I understand the humor. I just not for me. Just really not. I mean, a few things I did chuckle at, but I mean, you know, because I mean, the timing and stuff. Some were about, you know, but it's just like you reflect and you're like, well, damn, man, I'm an employee at GameStop. That kind of sucks. Or it does suck. Not kind of, but it does suck. So yeah, and it's just you have like mixed feelings. You're like, oh man, I'm sad now. So yeah, that's just it. But yeah, so I wanted, so those are the two things that primarily I wanted to bring up. Okay, so I will get in like my predictions about GameStop. So I mean, one of the predictions was basically about the future of like the digital stuff, about like everything being cyclical and just people having if you want to say nostalgia boners for physical media again, right? A lot of people, the reason why, and I am guilty of this too, like if you see in back of me, that bookshelf is filled to the freaking brim with DVDs, Blu-rays, comics. There's like 2 Funko Pops. There's a Batman action figure next to Superior Spider-Man on the 4th shelf. There's a comic book, there's Shazam book, comic books, you know, graphic novels, all that jazz. And on the very top, which you can't see, yeah, on the very top, there's like statues, more Funko Pops, books even, um, and all that jazz. So it's like, yeah, I have a lot of physical stuff. So imagine if and when I move, well, I'm probably gonna have to get rid of some of this stuff. Or like, you know, if I get serious, you know, with a lady, and she moves in, or like we get our own place, and next thing you know, she's like, yeah, okay, man child, you got to get rid of some of this shit, you know. Some of this has to go. It's like it's like I have all my stuff too, and your stuff, it's like, yeah, no, that's not cool. um so yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. So it's like we so I may have to downsize some stuff. And I've kind of thought about that too, man. I was just like, man, if I get a lady again on the regular, and man, and if she were to move in, or if we get a place together, like, man, I'm gonna have to get rid of a lot of this stuff, man. It's gonna suck. And we get married. I have to look for a home, a house. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man, is that a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people get bigger hard drives. That's why, because they and that's like the digital stuff. They look, because people look at the short term, right? And I'm guilty of this too. People look at the short term gain of, and corporations do this too. a lot of people do the short-term gain, right? The quarterly gain, the first quarter, last quarter gain, stuff like that. So what I'm talking about is that you look at like, okay, if I get my games digitally, I can have them on a hard drive, and also too, I have an account with what is it, Microsoft from Xbox One or PlayStation and all that jazz. Well, some games, here's the thing, some games you can stream on there, but you can't have them digitally, or you can't buy them digitally. You can only buy, like, if you wanted to play like God of War, I could be lying about this, but I believe God of War, you can only stream God of War, the first God of War, or God of War 2, unless you have like the physical disc. You can only stream it. PS4s are not backwards compatible. That's the thing about Xbox One. They are backwards compatible. Like my Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings, that's backwards compatible. I can play that in my Xbox One if I really want to. A lot of my games, Deadpool, I have Deadpool on Xbox 360. That's backwards compatible. The only game I think I have that isn't, it's the Lego Lord of the Rings. They haven't made that backwards compatible yet, so I still have an Xbox 360. So yeah. But yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of the things on PS4, they're not backwards compatible. I mean, I had a PS3 that was backwards compatible with PS2 games. And that was like one of the first ones that came out. And because I had what was it, Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, which was an overhead game. It was kind of like Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, and so yeah, I had Fallout Brotherhood of Steel on the PS2, and I would play that on my PS3. So that was one of the games that was backwards compatible. But they only made so many of those, because you have to understand is that it's expensive to make things backwards compatible. At least back in the day. Now it's more or less just software. It's like emulators and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's just software and coding. But yeah, but that's and so my predictions on that, it's just people, and I understand. So people get tired of having physical media, because it's just like, I have too much stuff. I gotta get rid of this stuff. So they downsize to hard drives. But the thing is that I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to keep on having hard drive at hard drive at hard drive. And it's just kind of like going to be one of those things. Okay, which hard drive has what now? It's like, no matter what, you're switching up one. Now, yeah, you're going to have a little bit more. You can save it on like a box, like, yay big, compared to like having all this physical media around and stuff like that. But yeah, so. But still, I mean, but once things, but like, let's say there's an older game that you want to play that you can't download, you can only stream it off of the PlayStation Store and stuff like that, or the Game Pass. You can't physically own it. I mean, that's BS. So if you wanna play the game, you gotta spend like $15. Now you get a plethora of games that you can stream, yeah. But maybe you don't want. I mean, it's like having the friggin' HD channels back in the day with cable, and like 90% of them are sports channels, like ESPN1, ESPN West, ESPN Central. It's like, holy shit, because all these channels are sports channels, and like you don't care about sports channels. It's like, if you don't care about sports, then good luck. Got all these channels, but I don't care about them. I remember having those back in the day, man. It was like it's 1,000 channels and nothing's on. It's like the first world problems. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. where that can come into play, where it's just one of those things of you of streaming the game and stuff like that, or older games, and you can't really, or if you want to stream the game, your internet's down, stuff like that, whereas the physical copy, you could actually have it and play it without internet. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's having a physical copy. Yes, it takes up space, but they're all, I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to everything, right? There's never going to be one clear cut way that this is foolproof, 100% more advantage than disadvantage. You know, I mean, it's just what you're willing to live with. And to me, I mean, I don't want to speak for people and stuff, but I see a lot of ridiculous, nonsensical or non-common sense way of thinking, and it's just like, listen, look, you have not thought this out. You have not done critical thinking. You have not deduced the situation. You have put no thought process other than, I can store a video game on here. It's 4 terabytes, and it takes up less space. You have done no research whatsoever other than like what I'm telling you about, like streaming the video games and stuff like that. Now, some people do, some people don't, and some people are like, oh, well, what you call it's one of the games that I don't have to stream. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But all these other games that you may want to play that you have to stream. You see what I'm saying? It's where you just get a physical copy for like $5. You get a protection on it for $1 or maybe $2, for a year, right? And you can go nationally, any GameStop. You can go to any GameStop, and we'll replace it. We just got to have some type of physical thing that we can defect out. If your game's stolen or you lose it, well, ain't nothing we can do. We got to have like a physical, something tangible in our hands to basically put the sticker on defective and just kind of, ship it for later. So, even if it's just broken up, even if we thought, okay, we can make out that, yeah, it was, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, for the Xbox 360, it's like, yeah, we just got to have something. But yeah, so my predictions, I think, I mean, I hope that GameStop is around. I really do. And I hope that GameStop lasts for a good bit. I would love to see GameStop last for another 20 years. I mean, if I'm being, hand to God, I would love GameStop to last for another 20 years, or even longer, if I'm being, and I know a lot of people speculate because of the simple fact of, like, yeah, they bought ThinkGeek and stuff like that, they're sinking ship. And like I said before, I mean, if they were sinking ship, why would they buy ThinkGeek? I mean, yeah, change up your strategy, change up, because because here's the thing about companies don't burn money. If they got money to burn, they don't start buying up stuff, hoping and praying that that ThinkGeek is our savior, that this is the way to go. No, they wouldn't do that. They would be a little bit more frugal with the funds. They wouldn't be throwing it around like it's friggin' tap water, No. I mean, I think buying ThinkGeek was actually a positive and a great strategic plan on theirs. And now people can be like, oh, well, they just have collectibles and they're just pushing all this shit, and they're so desperate they got to have action figures and stuff like that. I'm like, no. GameStop is trying to be more of the times of geek, because here's the thing about it, man. I mean, geek culture, man, is bigger than it ever has been. And geek culture is all about you know, superheroes and comic books and D&D and and video games and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards. We got all that shit. We got all that stuff. You know, I mean, that's what geek culture. That's what's so cool about the geek culture, man. That you can be very introverted or you can be very extroverted, like I am, right? You can be into working out like I am, or you could just be into playing video games, you know, only. Or you could be into Yu-Gi-Oh, or you could be into Dragon Ball, uh, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Z, whatever, man. I mean, you could be into anime. I mean, you know, we got it all, man. And that's what's cool, and that's why I think is great about GameStop when they bought ThinkGeek, because they were thinking, well, because if I mean I don't have any inside knowledge or anything, but my thought process would be they went in, if I were GameStop and I bought ThinkGeek, my mind would be like, we are going to make GameStop the one-stop geek shop, right? We're not just going to be selling video games, we're going to be selling comic books, which they do. I know our store used to have comic books. I mean, just some demographics are um, some demographics, comic books wise, they may not sell as good as like the Kingsport Fort Henry Mall may, right? Or out in like California, there may be a more of that demographic for comic books out there rather than in Johnson City, Tennessee, right? When it comes to comics, I mean, just because, and that's the thing. I mean, there's so many variables. It's just because one thing works for one store doesn't mean that it's going to keep on working for other stores. Now you can try it, but you have to understand there are variables in play in sales. That's just how it is. I mean, if you don't have that demographic there, then why are you trying to basically throw the cart on before the horse? You know, it's like, you know, it's or put the cart before the horse. I mean, it's bullshit when you do that. I mean, because it's just stupid. Number one, it's nonsensical. It's just you're not thinking. You're like, listen, look, let's do some analytics. Let's look and see if there's an actual demographic for it, or let's just try it. Let's have a couple comics, and if they sell, great. If they don't, cool. And that's what they do. I mean, that's what any business does. If a business sees that, oh shit, you know, we have all these comics, well, they're selling out great over here. Let's push those over there. That's, yeah. And people can be like, oh man, why the hell are we getting all these comics? It's like, well, yeah, because we sell the fuck out of them. Sorry, pardon my French. Sorry. We sell the heck out of them. That's why, because we have a demographic for it. Where over on the, you know, and we're talking about like, you know, West Coast California, over here on the East Coast, you know, Florida and Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, New England, you know, Maine and Boston, Mass, or New Hampshire, you know, Vermont, New York. Maybe they don't, you know. Well, New York probably, but you know, New Hampshire, you know, Connecticut, Rhode Island, you know, probably not, right? So, and you know, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like you want to push those over to the West Coast. You want to do that, and so that's what. So that's what I personally think, and this is me, and I believe it. I think and personally believe that GameStop made a right call by buying ThinkGeek out, by making GameStop the one-stop geek shop for people. So you're not going to fucking sorry, to your local hot to like a comic shop, right? I mean, if you, I mean, I go to my comic shop, right? I'm a little, you know, I go to Empire Comics, Mountain Empire Comics. You know, I go there, but if there's a book, but the thing about it is that GameStops, they get certain covers, just like Books a Million, fried pie covers, variant covers that you can't get anywhere else but Books a Million, just like GameStop has, right? we had Champions and what was it, Invincible Iron Man #1, different covers, variant covers for those there was for Books A Million, for retailer, for like comic book retailers, right, like Mountain Park Comics, and then there was one for GameStop, right, an exclusive for GameStop. So like if there was like an Alex Ross exclusive cover of a comic book that I could, and it was only at GameStop, you fucking A right, I'm gonna buy it from Game. Like if there was an Alex Ross Shazam Captain Marvel Billy Batson #1 cover, right, that we could only get at GameStop, you fucking A right, I'm gonna get it. It's Alex Ross. And I can't get it anywhere but GameStop. I can't get it through Mountain Empire Comics because it's a GameStop exclusive, right? And I really love Alex Ross. Alex Ross is like, if is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, comic book artist. I mean, the way he paints is just immaculate. It's just it looks so beautiful. Over my right shoulder, directly over my right shoulder, on where the Mary Marvel is, Funko Pop. That's an actual that cover is an Alex Ross cover. That is Black Adam getting ready to strike Shazam, and then Mary Marvel and Freddie Freeman on either side, holding down Captain Marvel, Billy Batson, or Shazam. You know, and that's that's and the one on the other side of Mary Marvel, that is an actual cover. That's another Alex Ross cover, where Mary Marvel joins the Black Adam family. You know, she becomes evil, and that's her at the front. It's a little blurry, you can't like really see, but Mary Marvel is in black, and she got the black thigh high boots, and then was it Black Adam, and then I believe Isis. Yeah, Black Adam is on the right side of her, and Isis is on the left side of her, but they're more towards the back, and she's predominantly in the front. But yeah, but those are Alex Ross covers. I mean, I love those. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, my predictions are I think GameStop will be okay. I mean, I really do. I mean, I have high hopes. I'm not a pessimistic person. I'm a glass half full, not half empty. I'm an optimistic person. I like to believe in in the human condition and society, and that we strive to do better. Even though I know sometimes I get very sardonic and very sarcastic, and I sometimes I poo-poo things. I mean, I just have this. It's just inside of me. I have this willingness to believe in others, but it's one of those things where I have a willingness to believe in others, but they need to be shown the path, right? People need an example of a person or persons to show them a better path, a better way, and to lead by example, right? Practice what you preach, right? You have to practice what you preach, and that's like me talking about Amazon, right? Like, I have to, if yeah, and like I said before, I'm hypocritical because I buy stuff at Amazon too, but I go out there and I try to find it first, in my local community, whatever I need. I mean, if it's entertainment or a graphic novel, or if it's a comic book, I go out there first, right, before I go hit Amazon or something. But if I literally cannot find it, like it's just a lost cause. Like it's either all sold out, they can't order anymore, it's out of print, they discontinued it, delisted it, then yeah, if I want it, then I'm going to have to go to the interwebs, and that's what's great about the interwebs, right? But yeah. So, but yeah, I try. But I do believe in society. I do believe in people. But a lot of times people have to be shown a better path, a more a righteous path, and not just shown, but they have to you have to lead them to it. A leader has to lead by example, and they have to take the first steps and be willing to sacrifice and take the first steps, and to make sure that others are going into safety and not going into danger. And so, yeah, I do believe in GameStop. I really do. I love working there. I love helping people. So yeah, I have high hopes for GameStop, and my predictions. I do want them to thrive, and I do, and maybe one day, I can get them promotions. um, one day for them, be a hype man, for everybody, for customers and employees, and promote and be a spokesperson for them. I really do. I do. I would love to do that. But that's, I mean, I know it may be, it's like, yeah, maybe dream on, kid. Dream on. Well, dream on, Greg. And, handsome Cobra, dream on, But it's, yeah. I mean, I do. That's just it. And on that note, I start winding this down. So yeah, those are the things that I just wanted to leave off with. I don't think there's anything else about retail. I mean, unless there's something else that comes up, maybe in like the future, who knows? But yeah, at least that'll end this trilogy for now, so far. But yeah, no, hey, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for viewing the videos, liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, and sharing the videos too. Thank you so much. It really means a lot, and I hope that we can get more and more viewers, more and more people to the channel, help it along, make it grow. Hopefully Chris and I can go out to cons and do more promotions and stuff like that, and be a little bit more professional, and actually get a good following and stuff. So yeah, I would yeah, I would love it. But yeah, hey, but thank you so much. Thank you so much for going with me on this adventure, this voyage, once again. And hopefully this is a good video to end the retail trilogy on. So, but yeah, so only thing I got left to say is love to all, God bless, and as always, aloha.